All right. I wanted to quickly, Kwik, get it? Kwik really is my last name. I didn't change it to do what I do. My last name is Kwik. I didn't, had to be a runner back in school. I get my fair share of speeding tickets because, well, not lately, but because when your name is Kwik and you get pulled over for speeding, you're not going to talk your way out of that speeding ticket because your driver's license says Kwik right on it. And I get to do my Dharma, which is teaching people how to learn quicker, how to achieve quicker. Not frantic fast. When you read faster, remember faster, focus fast, not frantic. There's an ease to it because you have mental fitness and you have strategy. And so I'm recording this right now on our private Facebook group. Many of you know we have 70,000 active podcast group on Facebook. So hello to everyone who's watching there. This is like people who religiously listen to our podcast every single week, and we go deep into questions. I post exclusive content there. I do lives there like I'm doing right now, but I'm also doing this on Instagram. So I want to say hi to everybody on Instagram. You love my shirt. Where can you order my book? mo.o0230. It's like everywhere. limitlessbook.com. Can someone tag that right now in there? limitlessbook.com so I can pin it. I wear this shirt because I want to showcase your brain, meaning what you see you take care of, and you see your hair, you see your clothes, you see your skin, you take care of the things you see, but you don't see the most important thing, which is your brain. And so when I point to my brain on social media, I'm saying, love your brain. This controls everything. Take care of your brain. Master your brain. Master your mind. And when I wear my brain on my shirt, I do that because, thank you. I do that because, as I pin this comment, I do that because I want you to see this. Like some people, they say wear your emotions on your sleeve. I say wear your brain right on your chest. We do have these available at shop.jimkwik.com, shop.mynamejimkwik.com, and we make donations. And speaking of donations, I want to thank you right away for making Limitless, the book a lot of people are talking about. Limitless hit the New York Times list yesterday. They'll announce it on this Sunday, but thank you for that. The USA Today, thank you for that. Limitless is the #1 book on the Wall Street Journal of all books, and thank you for that. So thank you for contributing to my life, for allowing me to do my purpose and my passion, which my passion is learning. Your passion is what lights you up. So learning lights me up, and your purpose is how you use that passion to light other people up. So I teach people how to learn so I can light other people up and light other brains also as well. So speaking of contribution, know that how many of you have the book by a show of yeses or hearts? Amazing. Thank you. Know that every penny my author proceeds, not profit, but my proceeds, every dollar that comes to me has gone to charity. In the area of Pencils of Promise, we've donated $25,000 for women's Alzheimer's movement. We've donated $5,000. There's not a lot of money in books, by the way, just in case anyone thinks you're going to get really rich making a book. Authors don't make a lot of money. Transparently, I believe most authors get 15% of what a book is. So they're maybe making a couple of dollars per book. A big part of my philosophy is you learn, so you earn, so you return. Learn, earn, and return. And so I wrote this book because people don't know this, but a few years ago I got in an accident and I almost died. And how many of you have had a near-death experience before? It puts things into perspective. Like even what's going on in the world right now, it makes you check in with your values, right? But it made me think about what I leave behind, and so I wanted to make this book for you, all right? And so this book, just like I put my mind and my heart into this book, and my goal was to be able to support you in times of trouble, in times of rapid change. I was reading one testimonial today, and they were like, I bought 2 copies of your book, keep one on my desk and one on my bed, first of all, just as tips when I need energy, when I need motivation, when I need a quick tip on how to be able to study something, and then it's there. But then also just by holding the book or by seeing the book there, it reminds me of my true power. And I was really complimented by that. I actually just got goosebumps saying that. I call these I call them truth bumps. Kind of cheesy and corny, but that's how I feel that your body responds to certain things. But I want to thank you for making this book a New York Times bestselling book, #1 on Wall Street Journal and USA Today. Thank you so much. And let me ask you a question. How can I serve you? I'm about to have dinner in a little bit, and I had a few minutes. I wanted to check in with you and just give you my thanks. Thank my team for making this possible. Thank to all our podcast listeners. Some of you don't know we have a podcast. We've done 175 something episodes, and each episode is only 15 minutes. There's no advertising. There's no sponsorships like long ads and everything else like that. I do this because I grew up with learning challenges. I was labeled broken. I do this because our mission is to build better, brighter brains, so you can have the brightest future of your life. And also to leave no brain left behind, right? No brain left behind is our mission. So that's why we do this. And so that's our way of making our difference. I believe you learn so you can earn so you can return. Learn, earn, and return. And that's really the goal. Apparently because you're strong in a battle with you. And so how can I serve you? How can I serve you in the best way possible? Besides, and thank you. Where to get those cool shirts? All right, so there's a link in my profile. If you're watching this on Instagram, I'm also recording, we're going live on our private Facebook group. So you could find our private Facebook group by searching Kwik Brain or Limitless Community. You'll find that on Facebook, and that's where we're going to put our book buyers in there, and we're going to do our book club also in there also as well. So you should join that. If you're watching this on Facebook, then I'm at Jim Kwik on Instagram. So thanks for an amazing book. Where can we listen to your podcast? Just search Jim Kwik in your podcast app. Spotify, Pandora, iTunes. We have over 3,000 5-star reviews on iTunes. And so shop.jimkwik.com is where you get the t-shirt. Thank you for supporting each other and filling those in. And so where are your questions here? Is it translated into Spanish? So good question. The book has been bought, foreign rights to the book. Our publisher has sold foreign rights. I don't know if I'm allowed to say to a lot of countries, to an incredibly large amount of countries, and they are translating it as we speak right now. And so this book will be available globally, and I'm really excited about it. And so I will update you. I love you too. Thank you. I will update you in the private Facebook group. That's where we do all the updates. We had a big world tour set up. Every year I'm in Africa, I'm in Australia, I'm in Asia, I'm in Europe, I'm in South America. Not really in Antarctica, but and obviously around the US, but that got canceled, obviously. So we're going to go on a virtual book tour next week. And so you'll see me with a number of friends on Instagram and Facebook, where we'll be interviewing me about the book. But if you haven't gotten the book yet, the reason why you go to limitlessbook.com is because we have a 10-day audio video companion course. So for those of you who like to learn through listening and watching, my goal, and if I could enlist your help, please, if you purchased the book already, is to, I want this book to be the most read book of the year. And I don't care if it's the most bought book. I mean, that's really great, but a lot of people are great at buying books, but they're not read, and they sit on your shelf, and it's shelf help, not self help. I don't want people just to buy it, honestly. I'd rather people just use your money for something else if you're not going to read it. But my goal is I think people are really good at buying books, but they're not good at reading the books. So when you go to limitlessbook.com, I give you a 10-day summary course on how to change your mindset to believe you're a good reader, or that you are smart enough to change your motivation, overcome procrastination, and also the methods to focus, to remember, and read and retain and understand the things that you read, and that's free. There's no strings attached. Just buy a book at limitlessbook.com, because I want you to read this book, and that's my goal with you. I read the book in 20 minutes. That's amazing. Are you coming to London this year? I'm supposed to go twice a year to London. I don't know with what's going on right now. Why no audiobook? Great question. So there is no Audible right now. I'm not saying that there won't be an Audible. I know that from all the testing that I've done, and we have students in 195 countries, that people who read a book have better comprehension and better retention of the information than people who listen to a book. And now this is me saying, having a widely, popular podcast. I love audio books. I listen to audiobooks. I listen to podcasts. But when people are tested, they thank you for buying 2 books. Johan Marks, thank you. I'm in the Facebook group here also. I appreciate you. It makes a great gift because you become a hero to somebody else, right? It's like, who do you know who needs more limitlessness in their life? Who needs to feel good about themselves and have some strategies and methods to be reminded that they have power? But going back to audiobooks, I'm not saying we won't do an audiobook, but a print book. The reason why, I'll tell you, is because usually with an audiobook or a podcast, people listen to that through that medium because they're usually doing something else. They're usually driving a car, they're usually cleaning the house, they're usually working out, they're usually whatever. And because you cannot multitask, it is actually not possible to do 2 cognitive activities at once. Then you're distracted and you're not going to get as much attention and focus and comprehension and thus retention of it. So I'm a big advocate for books. Books have changed my life personally. And so I'm not saying I listen to audiobooks when I can't physically read a book. The other thing with audiobooks is it's a very passive experience for most people. For most people, it's very passive, where reading is more active. And reading is to your mind what exercises your body. It's the best brain exercise. Even if you've seen me and Will Smith, and he's on the cover and everything else like that. But I asked him what do leaders do? What do you do to keep just sharp all the time? He's like, Jim, I do 2 things. I run and I read. You do something physical, you do something mental. That mental thing, leaders are readers. Just a little secret, like when people see me with pictures with Oprah and Elon Musk and Bill Gates, and regardless of what you think of whoever it's with, like, we bonded over books. With me and Elon, it was the sci-fi books, right? And books, and not just nonfiction books. I have to stress this. I 80% of the books behind me are nonfiction books, and I have another room full of books. I love books, which is really weird because growing up with challenges, my teachers would have been surprised if I read a book, much less wrote a book. But going back to fiction reading, I would encourage you to read fiction because to balance it out, as I read more fiction at nighttime because I don't want my real executive brain and my thinking brain to go into it. But fiction reading has been shown to improve empathy, to improve EQ, emotional intelligence, creativity, storytelling, and so on. And so I'm a big advocate. I wasn't for the longest time. I would not want to touch a fiction book. I was like, why would I want to read a fiction book? But most of the people I bonded with was over actually fiction reading. So take time to read it. It'll pay dividends. But we're talking about reading as being an incredible exercise. I believe it's the number 1 brain exercise you could do to stimulate new thoughts. If somebody has decades of experience and they put it into a book, my book or anyone else's book, and you can sit down in a few days and read that book, you could download decades into days. So much so that, I want to make this the most read book out there. Talking about fiction reading, how many of you read, and I could do this right now, how many of you read Lord of the Rings? You probably watched the movie, right? There's so much more stuff in a book. I swear. Let me tell you, I don't share this in this. I don't know if I've talked about this publicly. Years and years ago, I was. Friends were like, "You want to go see this movie? It's with Tom Cruise, and he plays a lawyer for the mob. It's called The Firm, right? John Grisham, and I was like, I don't know, I want to go. I still have the book, and they were like, why don't you just come out and just you're always reading, like, why don't you come out and see a movie? I'm like, fine, but I grabbed the book on the way out. And we get to the theater, and there like, you're coming online, you're gonna get a ticket. I'm like, no, you know what, I really want to read this book. You know when you want to like read a book and the movie comes out, but then you just can't, like Harry Potter or whatever, you don't finish reading the book. So I sit in the lobby, I start the book, and then I finish the book, and then a little while afterwards they come out of the movie theater, right? And I was like, how's the movie? And they're like, it was okay. And even if you see interviews with John Grisham, they're like, what do they do to my book, right? And they're like, how's the book? I was like, the book was really good. Because nobody could do what you could do inside your own mind. Like, you never judge a book by its movie. And I love the reading, because I remember I was going for a jog years ago, and somebody stopped me, and they're like, Jim, I went with your reading class, your speed reading program. It was amazing. And I have a story to tell you. I'm like, yeah, I would love to hear it, because I love hearing these stories. These are what light me up, right? And he was like, I recently reread a book that I read during your course, but after I took your course, it was completely different, because I let people choose their own reading, right? While they go, we have a 21-day reading program at quicklearning.com, and it's 15 minutes a day, 10-15 minutes a day, and I guarantee you'll triple your reading speed with better comprehension, right? And I was like, how is it different the second time after you read the book, after going through the course? He was like, I don't know. I was like, first of all, what book was it? And he said, The Old Man and the Sea. I was like, wow, Hemingway, like that's classic. I was like, but how is it different? I don't think he updated the book recently. And I was like, because I obviously didn't update the book. I was like, how is it different? And he was like, Jim, I don't know what it was, but after going through your course, when I read it afterwards, I felt like I was in the book. I could hear the ocean waves. I could feel the sand beneath my toes. He said the one thing I didn't like was the smell of the fish. Can you get that? Like, that's the power of reading something, like you're so into it, because Michael Bay, Spielberg, nobody could do what you could do inside your own mind. And especially when you have trained your mind, and because it's really powerful. So anyway, leaders are readers, and I open this by saying thank you for reading this book, and don't just buy this book. I am amazed and pleasantly enthralled by the amount of people who said they finished this book already, that they got it and within 2 days they read it. Why? Because they got the 10-day course as a bonus when you go to limitlessbook.com. And I even teach you, this is so crazy, Lord of the Rings, going back to Lord of the Rings, right? By Tolkien, he has this quote about the other rings saying, it's the one ring to rule them all. Lord of the Rings, the one ring to rule them all. I want this to be the one book to learn them all. You get it? I want this book to help you learn all other books. So it doesn't stay shelf-help, it becomes real self-help. Now, like even a chapter, I do a chapter, and I know if you're watching this on Instagram, you can't see it, but you can definitely see it on Facebook. How to read and remember this and any book. Because I want you to read this book. In fact, when you go to limitlessbook.com and you purchase the book there now, you're going to get a guest ticket to a group Zoom that we've been doing. And it's a book club that starts on May 27th. So you order the book now so you have it, and I'm going to take you through the hero's journey. All the movies that I said, Lord of the Rings, Wizard of Oz with Dorothy, Matrix, Star Wars, you think of the Limitless, you think of any of those movies, they went through a hero's journey, right? Harry Potter took you through a hero's journey. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through this hero's journey. There are 4 main stages to the hero's journey, and we're going to spend 1 week together as a group to be able to read it together. I'm going to show you how to remember it, because if you ever read a page in a book, got to the end and forgot what you just read, how embarrassing, right? And you go back and you reread it and you still don't know what you just read. I'm going to show you how to fix that, because I want you to read, and just how I teach you how to memorize the brain foods and the periodic table and all that stuff. I'm going to show you how to remember in a very unique way all the information in this book, because I'm going to take you through this journey together. And it's going to be an adventure. And I think the ultimate adventure that we're all on is to be able to realize and reveal our fullest potential. When we're talking about the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell's work, you go from you get the call, right? You get the call to adventure, and I ask you for that call in the beginning. And then what do? We go from the ordinary to the extraordinary, right? If you watch Limitless, he went from this ordinary world to an extraordinary world. You watch The Matrix, he went from the Matrix into this extraordinary world, right? By taking this pill. And then what happens? You have trials and challenges. And in this book, you can't go a couple of pages without seeing like these quick start exercises that are just all over the place, like these grayed out areas, and there are recipes in here, but these are the quick starts that I talk about, small simple steps that you could do in 60 seconds. In 60 seconds you could be able to go through these exercises. And so I go into a lot more than on programs, but this is your limitless model. This is the limitless model. This is the limitless model that we're working off of. This is the 3 things that keep you stuck, or the 3 things that will liberate you. So what makes this different than any programs that I've created online is that's all methodology. Now half this book are methods. The largest chapter of this book is on memory, right? So this chapter happens to be on speed reading. So let me give you an idea of how we're going to do this. And this is, I'm actually talking to people who have gotten the book already. And if you haven't, you go to limitlessbook.com, you get all the bonuses. We also do a bonus chapter on Limitless for kids and a bonus chapter for Limitless for teams. So if you have a team of 3 people or a team of 300 people, how to build learning organizations. Like, what do I do at Facebook? What are the trainings I do at Google? What do I do at SpaceX? What do I do at places like Zappos and General Electric and Nike? And how can you build a learning organization where people are motivated to learn? Because the faster you can learn, the faster you can earn. The faster you can learn, the faster you can earn. And you learn, so you earn to return. Learn, earn, and then return. You have more to give back. Going into this, I'm going to give you, there is no Audible, but again, that's why I give you the 10-day summary companion course, audio, video of that course. This is a limit. How come the reading chapter wasn't first, Paul? A good answer. It's actually number 4. Because I wanted to start with something that's very thrilling. That's the reason why people won't put the book down. They're finishing it in like 2 sittings. And I don't recommend that, but to each its own. This is your lesson for today. I'm going to do an Audible reading for you right now. You probably don't have great audio on Instagram. You probably have better on Facebook because I'm on my computer for that. Let me make sure it's on. Okay. In this book, right, I go through these sections of the book. And the chapter that is very interesting to me is a section. There's actually 3 books in one. Can you believe that? 3 books in one. Because this book originally was a book on methods, all methods, but I had to change it. This book section I want to talk about is the section on mindset. Because I could teach you how to speed read, learn languages, remember names, but if your mindset is, I can't do that, I'm too stupid, I have a horrible memory, I'm too old, whatever, you're still going to be stuck in that box. So your mindset are what you believe is possible, what you believe you're capable of, what you believe you deserve. And there are, in the mindset, I show you through how to overcome, and I know you can't see this on Instagram, you can see it on Facebook, but the spell of belief systems. Belief systems. And now belief systems, what do they stand for? BS. A lot of the stuff you're telling yourself they're BS, belief systems. They're lies. And I talk about specifically the 7 lies that hold you back. The 7 lies that hold you back from everything that you want to learn and accomplish in your life. These are the 7 lies. And I have this quote from Wayne Dyer. There's one grand lie, that we are limited. The only limits we have are the limits we believe. And I talk about the 7 lies to learning, but they're not just reserved to learning. And one of them is that, for example, let me just address one, that genius is born. Genius is born. That if somebody is amazing at physical activity, or amazing at making money, or amazing at technology, or amazing at relationships, or amazing at their learning, genius is born is something that most people believe, that they can't accomplish something. And what we know is genius is built, right? That genius leaves clues. Some people have certain advantages, certainly, right? But part of it is genetic, but an overwhelmingly large amount is in your control. But you have to be able to fix that mindset. If you believe geniuses are just born, then you're like, oh, you either have it or you don't have it. And then what? Then you're kind of not in a great place because you can't do anything about it. So here's the 7 lies of learning. I'm going to go to one specifically that says genius is born. And what happens is I take the lie and I take you through a process I call unlimiting. Unlimiting. Let me change this. Unlimiting. And unlimiting is the active removal of limits in your life, specifically in your mindset or your motivation or in the methods. Those are the only 3 forces that keep you stuck in a box. If you feel like you're in a box, think about an area of your life where you're not making progress. It could be in your memory, your reading ability, your thinking ability, right? Or your studying ability, your focus is limited. But let's think about your career. Let's think about your health. Let's think about your relationships. Let's think about how you want to impact the world. Where do you feel like you're not making progress? In that box, there are 3 dimensions. 3 dimensions that keep you in that box, 3 forces. And they are this, right? Your mindset, your motivation, and the methods. And where mindset crosses over with methods, you have inspiration. Where motivation crosses over with methods, you have implementation. And where mindset crosses over with methods, you have ideation, right? But you need all 3 because when all 3 M's or all 3 I's connect, you have the 4th I, which is integration. Integration, right there in the middle, that's where you will become limitless. All right, that's integration. Like integer or integral means to be whole. You are one, right? It's just who you are, and that's the state I want to get you to. But here's the other thing: the majority of all limits are learned. Like my mindset that I have a broken brain, it can't. I wasn't born with that, right? A teacher in front of the whole class said, "That's the boy with the broken brain," and that label became my limit and put me in that box. So that box is made up of your experience, your expectations of other people's expectations, your environment could help create that box. But no matter what happened in the past that put you in that box, you are responsible for today. And I'm going to tell you the 3 things that will liberate you out of that box. The first thing is your mindset. And in the mindset section, I talk about 7 lies, right? The 7 lies to success and learning. And what I would say is, and then we do a whole thing on motivation also, limitless motivation, limitless mindset, limitless methods. But the lie stands for limited idea entertained. A lie stands for a limited idea that is entertained. Limited idea entertained. If you have questions also, by the way, 2 things you could do: support@kwiklearning.com. And so our team is amazing. Support@kwiklearning, kwiklearning.com. Any questions? If you want to send your receipts there, you can send your receipts there to get the bonuses also as well. If you got it on Apple or you're not sure. Also, you could text me. If you're in North America, you could text me. My number is in my Instagram profile. You just click the text button and it really goes to this phone. This phone I'm looking at right now, it goes to that phone. For you who are at home, this is actually the bat phone. You see the back of my cover on Facebook. So if you're watching this on Facebook, you actually see the way the position the camera is. My phone, it's right in front of the camera a little bit. It actually is bat. I love Batman, and this is the bat phone. Because Batman is awesome because he did it. He wasn't gifted these powers. He built it, right? I mean, he was born with wealth, which most of us weren't. But he trained himself to be a great detective, a great thinker, a great martial artist, and so on. Where can you buy the shirts? Shop.jimkwik.com. All our shirts, we have a lot of them. We rotate them out. But if you want inspiration, you want to remind yourself to take care of your brain. And also, it's support@kwiklearning, kwiklearning.com, or text me 310-299-9362. Got it? 310-299-9362. If you actually read this, you should know how to memorize those numbers. That they call that digital dementia. Remember how phone numbers you used to know when you were growing up? Like all of them. How many phone numbers do you know now? None. You're like, Jim, I don't want to memorize 500 numbers. Neither do I. But are you concerned you can't memorize one? Or a PIN number? Or a conversation you just had? Or something you were going to say? Or where you put your keys? Or, I don't know, someone's name? That's you want to keep this mentally sharp. And you don't want to rely on technology too much. Okay, so one of the lies, a limited idea entertained. And there's 7 lies that hold you back. in your kids back, your team back, that are widely accepted. This is your audible right here. You ready? So I talk about the lie. I tell you the science that actually is to the contrary, that counters and dispels that lie, because it's about transcending, ending the trance, ending this mass hypnosis through marketing or media or your family, wherever you got these limiting beliefs that you're not enough, all right, that you're broken like I thought I was. And then I teach you I do a story about it that makes it stick, because stories stick. That's why I take you through a hero's journey in the book. And then I show you how to install the truth. So you have a new belief, so you can feel good about yourself, and you know that you're capable of it, and you know you deserve it. So let's take one lie, that genius is born. And I'm not going to go through all this, read the science and explain that and IQ and all that stuff, but I'm going to read the story. All right, ready? Let me get into my podcast audible state. All right. A king was watching a great magician perform his act. The crowd was enthralled, and so was the king. At the end, the audience roared with approval, and the king said, "What a gift this man has, a God-given talent." Now, if you're just joining us and you have the book, you can go to page 151. I'm on 152 now, okay? But a wise counselor said to the king, "My lord, genius is built, not born. This magician's skill is the result of discipline and practice. These talents have been learned and honed over time with determination and discipline." The king was troubled by this message. The counselor's challenge had spoiled his pleasure in the magician's art. "Limited and spiteful man, how dare you criticize a true genius? As I said, you either have it or you don't, and you most certainly don't." The king turned to his bodyguard and said, "Throw this man into the deepest dungeon." And he added, for the counselor's benefit, "So you won't be lonely, you can have 2 of your kind to keep you company. You shall have 2 piglets as cellmates." From the very first day of his imprisonment, the wise counselor practiced running up these steps to his cell, to the prison door, carrying in each hand a piglet. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the piglets steadily grew into sturdy boars. And with every day of practice, the wise counselor increased his power and strength. One day, the king remembered the wise counselor and was curious to see how imprisonment had humbled him. He had the wise counselor summoned. When the prisoner appeared, he was a man of powerful physique, carrying a boar on each arm. The king exclaimed, "What a gift this man has, a God-given talent." The wise counselor replied, as you would imagine, "My lord, genius is built, not born. My skill is the result of discipline and practice. These talents have been learned and honed over time with determination and discipline." Now, what's the lesson here? Genius is not born, genius is built, right? And the ultimate adaptation machine, which you need to be right now in today's environment where businesses and industries are being disrupted, they're going overnight. You have to learn new subjects. You have to learn new skills. And the greatest thing about this is that, even before what's going on in the world, jobs were going to artificial intelligence. They were going to automation. Machines were replacing human beings. What's not going to be replaced are the things that are limitless. Because the sky is not the limit, your mind is a limit. There's no limit to human creativity. The infinite resource we have on planet Earth is human potential. There's no limit to your creativity. There's no limit to your ability to solve real problems. There's no limit to imagination, right? There's no limit to our ability to come together right now more than ever. There's no limit to our determination, human determination. But how do you unleash those things? How do you unlimit those things? That's why I wrote the book, all right? You might feel like right now you are cocooning, and I think that's a great metaphor for what we're going through right now. You are physically distancing yourself. You're not social. I have a little pet peeve with words have power on your brain. We are physically distant right now, but we are not socially distant. We are being social, right? Everyone's on Facebook is messaging me, and I see all your messages. Everybody here on Instagram, you're leaving a message. We're being social with each other, and also what I'm concerned about is people being mentally distant, honestly. I'm concerned with people being emotionally distant. But if you are, like, think about cocooning, right? You're alone with your thoughts. You're alone with your fears. You're alone with your doubts. You might be feeling alone. So how can you get out of this? How can you get out of this cocoon? Because while the beauty is in the butterfly, the growth happens in the cocoon. So here are just 5 things I'm going to leave you with. And then I have to eat dinner. 5 things, because it's getting dark in here also. I don't have any lights on. 5 things you could do. Number 1, 5 C's. In this book, I have this quote. All right, you're like, Jim, you're really talking about the book. Yes. Right now, by the way, Amazon has it the least expensive it's ever been. So it's $10 off on Amazon. And I prefer a hard copy if you can get a hard copy, because this book is so gorgeous. Like, I mean, it is awesome. So I also mark my books up a lot. For me, I don't want to look at digital stuff anymore. I'm on digital stuff all the time. How many of you like physical books, print books, more than you like ebooks? Now, I'm all for ebooks. It's really great because I travel. It's like I listen to Audible, I listen to podcasts when I'm travel. I don't want to travel with 15 books that I'm going to read in the next couple of weeks. So I have digital devices, but I always prefer if I could just get off a screen and then hold it. But Amazon right now, if you're in the US, it's more than $10 off because the book is just doing so well. And they limit you though to 4 copies because Amazon and Barnes & Noble have both sold out before. On this book that just came out, they've sold out twice. And so get that book today if you can. It's the least expensive it's ever been, but get it at limitlessbook.com because that's where you redeem your receipt. So you get the bonuses, the 10-day speed reading memory course and the book club and the 10 bonus chapters, the 2 bonus chapters. All right, so going back to this, the 5 C's that while you're cocooning, I want to just mention another C here. I have this quote in here from a French philosopher, and I memorized it obviously. Life is the C between B and D. Life is C between B and D. What does that mean? B is birth, D is what? Death, C is choice. Life is choice. Happiness is choice. We, right now, where you are in this current moment, is a sum total of all the choices we made before this, right? Where to live, who to spend time with, what to put in, even small choices like what to read or what to watch or what to put in our bodies, right? All these things, like what we do for a career and everything else, all the choices we made. And that's the thing, you always have a choice of what to focus on, what things mean, what you're gonna do. Nobody here should be, well, I'll get to that. Comes down to choice, that these difficult times can develop, these difficult times can diminish you, these difficult times can define you, or these difficult times can develop you. You decide. 5 quick C's, and then I have to eat. Number 1, C, clarity. Use this time as you're cocooning to get clear on your life. Because when you're out there going really, really fast, when have you had a pause to be like, am I going in the right direction? One of my mentors, Dr. Stephen Covey's like, hey, you're climbing the ladder of success. You're so busy being, efficient at climbing that ladder. But when you get to the top, you realize the ladder is leaning on the wrong wall, right? You're just so busy being good at being busy and being efficient, but you don't know if you're going the right direction. So clarity is great clarifying question. What's most important to me in life? What's most important to me in a career? Right now, if I was to start right fresh, like what's most important to me in my relationships? What's most important to me in my fulfillment, my spirituality, my impact, my health, right? So that will give you your values and then ask you a secondary clarifying question. Once you ask what's most important to you, ask this: are my actions aligned with those values? Are the actions I'm taking every single day, see, that's why you're going to self-sabotage. If you value something in life and your actions are not aligned with that, you're going to take 1 step forward. And why wonder why you always have to push yourself and get all hype yourself up, or use willpower all the time, right? Or maybe you self-sabotage. You take 1 step forward and then 2 steps back because your actions aren't aligned with the things that are most important. So number 1, clarity. Use your time right now. And by the way, if you're just joining us, because I'm going to wrap up and I'm going to tell you the 5 keys to cocooning, you can take a screenshot of this right now. Let me hold on. and you can post it and you can tag me, and when you do it, you can share it, and I will actually gift a copy of the book to somebody who shares it just randomly. All right, to keep you active and keep you paying attention. All right, so for the 5 C's to cocooning, number 1, get clarity on your life, because solitude is a wonderful time for self-reflection. All right, so check in with yourself. 2 questions: what's most important to me in every area of your life, and are my actions aligned with that? Because if they're not, I believe a lot of people who complain to people about being burnt out is not because you're doing too much. Not everybody who says they're burnt out is burnt out because they're doing too much. They're doing too little of the things that matter to them. All right, let that sink in. Second C, after clarity, care. We know self-care is not selfish. And I'm not just talking about physical hygiene. Wash your hands, sanitize everything, 6 feet, yes. Physical hygiene. Mental hygiene, control your mental hygiene. All right, what you put in is what you're gonna get out. And so if you're just watching the news and everything that's scary and threatening, I'm not saying don't know what's going on, right? But be a thermostat, not a thermometer. A thermometer just reacts all the time to things. You don't want to be that, because you'll have no solace, you'll have no peace of mind, you'll have no fulfillment if you're just reacting. We know through all the studies on happiness is an inside-out process, right? And so you have to feel like you have agency. So don't be a thermometer reacting, be a thermostat. A thermostat could still gauge the environment, could still watch some news, know what's going on, gauges it, but then it sets a temperature and the environment reacts to it. All right, just remember that. And so part of mental hygiene is this. Facebook has an algorithm. We're on our Facebook group here. You find it at Kwik Brain. Just search Kwik Brain, Kwik Brain on Facebook. Instagram at Jim Kwik. If you're on social media and you like and comment and you just happen to watch videos of all the cats, that algorithm it has in social media, algorithm will show you more cats, and you just think like, wow, all of social media is really cats. And that's because they're going to give you what you're engaging with. Well, if you just watch the darkness and the scariness on the news all the time, then the mind has an algorithm too. And it's going to keep on showing you stuff that's dark all the time, even when you're not watching the news, because you train your brain, the algorithm in your mind, because whatever you engage with, you get more of, right? And that means, here's the thing. I talk about in your power of your subconscious mind, in the book. And consciously, you can only pay attention to a finite bandwidth. According to Harvard University, 5 to 9 bits of information. But if your brain is being hijacked, your amygdala is being hijacked by what's dark and fearful, then you don't have any more bandwidth to focus on what you can be grateful for. You can't focus on, without effort, opportunity, possibility. Do you get it? And here's a challenge, because chronic stress shrinks your brain. Chronic fear makes you more susceptible to viruses, to colds, to flus. It's an area of science called psychoneuroimmunology. And if you're constantly in fear state, in a scared state, you're in fight, flight, or freeze, right? That's not a way to live, right? And so care, obviously in the book, we talk about the best brain foods, how to optimize your sleep, how to meditate, all the great care things. And I'm just saying, control your input, all right? Don't touch your phone in the first hour of the day. You saw that video with me and Simon Sinek, set 27 million views on Facebook. Don't touch your phone the first hour of the day, because it trains your brain to be distracted, and it trains your brain to be reactive. And you don't want to start your day being distracted and reactive to things, all right, where you're fighting fires on the defense. Third thing, clarity, care, and I really have to go because my dinner is waiting. Third C, contribution. The antidote to fear is service, right? Even me growing up with a broken brain, when I started public speaking, that was like a phobia for me. A lot of people are a little nervous public speaking. I was like phobic, right? My superpower is being invisible. I would sit behind the tall kid in class, right? Because I don't want to be called, because I never had the answers. And I would still talk about butterflies, before going on stage. But as soon as I stepped on stage, I just focused on one person, zero fear. Zero fear, because it's service. I'm focusing on them, and I can't be focusing on my own things, right? And so contribution is, how can you put your time, your talent, some of your treasure into making a difference, right? For us, we donate 100% of my author proceeds, not even the profits. Everything that comes to me from this book goes to build schools for children who don't have access to schools, clean water, healthcare, and Alzheimer's research. So that's our way of contributing. Our way of contributing is doing this, right? Like as we do for students, like we would do lives and everything else like that, because that's our way of contributing. How can you uniquely put your time, talent, treasure? Maybe it's something simple like checking on your neighbor to make sure they're not lonely, checking on somebody who's older and more vulnerable, making some food for people who are on the front line of everything that's going on. Contribution will get you out of fear. And then finally, you have clarity, care, contribution. Fourth C, creativity. You've heard me say this before, but it was during the Great Plague that Shakespeare wrote Macbeth. He wrote Antony and Cleopatra. It was when they shut down London because of the plague that Isaac Newton had to leave the university and go home. And sound familiar? And he was sitting underneath a tree in his yard, and an apple fell on his head. And he came up with the theories of motion, the theories of gravity. What can you create during this time? All right. Is it music? Is it a business? Is it art? Is it what? A blog? What have you always wanted to create? Because the future belongs to the creatives, right? Remember, jobs are going to artificial intelligence, they're going to machines, they're being automated. What's not going to be are things that in the creation space. There's no limit to your creativity, there's no limit to your imagination. And if you think you're not creative, you definitely need to get this book, because I'm going to bust that myth, that BS, belief systems way out. Complete lie. Limited idea entertained. All right, so how can you be creative? And finally, last C, we have clarity, we have care, we have contribution, we have creativity, is capability. You have your to-do list. What's on your to-learn list? I'm going to remind you, you have unfettered access to the world's information through podcasts, through YouTube, through Facebook, through everything, right? And Spanish, salsa, speed read, like what do you want to learn? Because I'm telling you, like right now more than ever, it's important you double down on your learning. And I think if there's one skill to master in the 21st century, it's your ability to learn faster. Hecka faster, like really, really fast. Because if there was a genie could grant you any one wish, but only one wish, what would you wish for? Quick. Limitless wishes, right? Millions of wishes. If I was your learning genie and I could help you learn one subject or any one skill, just one, what would you wish for? Learning how to learn. Because if you can learn how to learn, it's equivalent of asking for limitless wishes. Because if you can learn how to learn, you could grant all your learning wishes. Money, math, Mandarin, martial arts, music, management, marketing, everything gets so much easier when you could speed read, when you could focus, when you could remember things fast, when you could be a creative thinker, when you could study technical material in a quarter of the time. So those are the 5 C's. Support each other here. My main message for you here is this as we wrap this up. When a caterpillar, we're talking about cocooning, and these 3 M's, mindset, motivation, and methods, right? That's the key. Unlimit your mindset, motivation, and methods. And cocooning. Because when the caterpillar thinks it's the end of the world, it becomes a butterfly. Because while the beauty is in the butterfly, the growth happens in the cocoon. And we could be in growth mode right now. And I'm not saying don't watch Netflix and do 4 or 5. Do it, but do it consciously. If you're going to do it so you can just turn off your executive mind and just relax and restore, then do it. Who's anyone to say what you should be doing? If that's how you want to do it, just do it consciously. Don't do it mindlessly. Ask yourself, is this a good use of this moment, of this minute? And also be kind to yourself, because we're facing something that no one's ever, this world has never faced, and uniquely we're doing it all together, where usually it's local and linear. Now it's exponential and it's global, right? And so just like everybody is connected, we know that because viruses spread, and fear is contagious. You know what else is contagious? Positivity, performance, wisdom is contagious, happiness, love, unity, this idea. I can't believe the amount of stuff that's going on, in terms of people hurting each other at this time, right? I mean, you know what's contagious right now? Kindness. And kindness is free. So we should be sprinkling that stuff everywhere. And that's my goal for you is to remember, no matter what's going on in the world, my main idea is don't downgrade the things that mean the most to you, your dreams, to fit this current situation. Do not downgrade your dreams to fit you don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. You're concerned about the economy, and all these things are valid, right? But remember who has control. You might not be able to control, You might not have influence about the global health. You might not have influence on global economy, but you could control and do things with your own health, your family's health, your own personal economy, right? And so don't downgrade your dreams to meet this current situation. Upgrade your mindset, your motivation, and your methods to be able to meet your destiny. And that's my hopes for you. And if you need help with that, that's why I wrote this book, all right? 100% of the proceeds go to charity through specifically, just recently we did $25,000, based on bar sales, we did $25,000 to Pencils of Promise. And we're gonna do as much as we can. And then also we did $5,000 to women's Alzheimer's movement, because I lost my grandmother to Alzheimer's. But the goal is you learn to earn to return, and anything that you could always do to make a difference. That's a butterfly effect. We talked about butterflies the entire time. Did you know what a butterfly effect is? A butterfly flapping its wings in Los Angeles could create a tsunami halfway across the world. And that's what's happening right now with fear and viruses, but you could also spread amazing other things also as well. So what is one small, simple step you could take right now that could create that ripple effect? And maybe it's buying this book, because it's the least expensive it's ever been on Amazon, more than $10. Go to limitlessbook.com. There's the plug. Or maybe it's just doing something 10 minutes on care, 10 minutes of contribution, 10 minutes of creativity. Maybe it's 10 minutes of getting clarity and meditating and journaling for yourself. Maybe it's 10 minutes of learning something new, of just 10 minutes of reading, right? Little by little, a little becomes a lot. You heard me read those small, simple steps of how that you had that wise counselor become, extremely physically strong and powerful through taking just daily consistent action. Consistency compounds, right? So be too optimistic to scare. Be too determined to doubt. And you are much stronger than anything you face. And remember, be kind to each other, because you never know the battles other people are facing. And that's the thing. And so my love to you. I wish your days, your weekend be full of lots of life, lots of love, lots of laughter, and always lots of learning. And by the way, really quick, if you bought the book, can you please leave a review, an honest review wherever you bought it, because those words could inspire other people to better themselves and to realize that they have not as many limits as they really think they do. Because my words will affect some people, but your words, your story is your superpower, right? And for me, I took my mess and I turned it into my message. My inspiration was my desperation. But if somehow you got value out of anything I've shared with you here or on the podcast or in this book, if you could leave a review on iTunes or on Apple or on Amazon or on Barnes & Noble, wherever it happens to be, it would mean I read every single one, and I know other people do too. And the reason why I give 100% when I'm on camera or I'm on stage is because I was the person 30 years ago that was struggling, that I was down to 117 pounds, right? I was dying literally, and I wasn't sleeping. I was working so hard. I had no money. I didn't have the education. I was ready to fail out of school. All those challenges, and so I always assume somebody's in the audience, or somebody's listening to the podcast, or somebody is reading this book, or somebody that just needs to hear this right now. And we all need somebody to encourage us. We all need people to support us. We all need people to be there for us and challenge us. And if you haven't found that person yet, be that person for somebody else. And especially, be that person for you. God bless you. Bye, everybody.